And what's up, everybody? Welcome in a very, very special episode today. This is not GC Live. This is a special episode presented by Garnet Trust. We're going to tell you a little bit about what the Garnet Trust is here in a moment. Garnet Trust officially launching today. I am, of course, Wes Mitchell. He is Chris Clark, both of GamecockCentral.com. Joined by a very special guest today on this Monday afternoon. We got Jason Brown, quarterback, going to join us and talk a little bit of ball, talk about his trip to South Carolina. Jason, how we doing today, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, man. We really appreciate you making the time. I know one thing we've talked about during these other interviews we have done is sort of the daily life of a student athlete. It's I think it's busier than any fan ever even realizes. Just the day to day, man. So we appreciate you taking the time. We appreciate you chatting with us, and that's kind of where I wanted to start. I know. Obviously, for everybody in your building over there, Saturday didn't go the way anybody really hoped for. But I wanted to talk a little bit about just kind of that process. You're getting back, I'm sure, at some point pretty late from the trip. What is the schedule as far as like literally when do you hop on the plane from Columbia, Missouri? When do you get back in Columbia, South Carolina? When are you in the building next? Like, what had the last, I guess you would say, like 36 hours been like for a Gamecock student athlete?
So whenever we finished with the game, we hopped on the bus. We had to take a 2-hour trip to the airport actually, and we didn't get to the airport till about 9:30. I believe we took off at about 10:30 Central Time. So I mean, we didn't land in Columbia, South Carolina until about 12:30, 12:30. So we didn't get back to the facility till about 1:15 or so. Whenever we had got everything situated there, and then we took off from there. And then we're in the building the next day. You got to be in here for treatment by 12:30. So I mean, we had some guys in here for some treatment just to get their body right. And then you got for the guys that weren't banged up at all, you got to be in the building at 2:30, and then we're in here from then until 7 o'clock. And then we're free the rest of the night. And then Mondays we're usually off, but we have a lot of guys up here watching film right now, like our entire line, our quarterbacks, our receivers are all up here right now, just watching and trying to get better.
JB, so yeah, that process of getting back in, Shane Beamer, head coach, does his teleconference every night in the 7 o'clock hour where he kind of goes over Saturday's game and previews the next game, things like that, mainly recapping the previous week. And he noted that, you guys did not have a practice per se on Sundays, but tell us kind of what you normally are doing on Sundays after the game. That's been kind of a talking point among fans is, does the team practice? What do they do? Coach Beamer's kind of described it a lot of times as like walkthroughs, corrections, film study. Give us a little bit more about kind of what you guys are doing on Sunday to kind of flush the previous game and then move on to the next.
I mean, we here, like I said, we have that 12:30. Everybody's in here that needs treatment, and then from there, I mean, we're in meetings. We have lift for an hour. Then we have meetings for about an hour, hour and a half, and then we're on the practice field just going over the corrections from the last game, just so we can get that stuff fixed for the coming week. And then we usually have about like a 45-minute practice just to go over walkthrough and things like that. And then our young guys will our young guys that are scout team guys that are working their way up. I mean, they'll have their own little session for about 15 minutes as well, just so they can get reps as well.
By the way, if you're joining us here on YouTube or Facebook, you actually can throw your questions in the chat on either, and we're going to pick a few questions along the way. We'll throw them at JB and sort of make this interactive. Appreciate everybody that's hopping on here for our Garnet Trust conversation with Jason Brown. Jason, let's go back for a minute, man. You make the decision to enter the portal. I know you and EJ Jenkins, it seemed like we're sort of kind of a package deal. You're looking at some of the same schools. Take us through maybe even the initial conversation. Who did you first hear from South Carolina? I know there's actually a really good story in The Athletic last week, kind of about your journey and crediting some different people for sort of how that happened at South Carolina. I know Coach Eric Kimry was pretty involved, Coach Beamer, Coach Satterfield, just the recruiting staff as well. What was that process like going into the portal, maybe not knowing where your life is going to take you at that point, and then how did it kind of play out with you ending up at South Carolina?
Yeah, so whenever we entered the portal, I mean, it's always scary because I mean, you never know where you're going to end up. You never know if somebody's going to want you, or if you're going to end up somewhere. So I mean, just taking that leap was scary enough, and then it took a couple days to hear from some coaches, and then the first coach I heard from when I was here was actually the running back coach that was here last year. I don't remember his name though, but I heard from him and Kimry. And then once me and EJ had talked to them, I mean, we heard from Coach Kimry, every single day from there until when we got here. And he would just shoot us a text every single day, just checking in on us, see how our day was, and just things like that. So Coach Kimry definitely was pretty involved with our recruiting, and we definitely felt like it was a family atmosphere here, and things were going to change. And we kind of took that leap, and we just had this same school offer us together, and here we are. We ended up here together again.
And Jason, I want to go back even farther than that, than Wes is talking about, to like the high school level. So, you have Gamecock Central on the Rivals Network. We know you have a Rivals profile from back in the day. You were what, 2017 class? Is that right? Out of high school. You have a profile. I wish I had the picture. We could bring it up, Wes, but I don't have it on the profile picture yet. But how much attention was there in high school? And like, tell us a little bit about the high school recruiting process, because obviously based on talent level, where you are now, you went under recruited. Did you tell us a little bit about that and kind of the lack of media attention and things like that in high school?
It was a little slow, honestly. I mean, I got offered by St. Francis, Delaware State, and a couple D2 schools, but other than that, I mean, it was really slow. I didn't get my first offer till my senior year of high school. It was actually our playoff game. Senior year is when I got my first offer. So it was definitely slow and frustrating, just because I felt like I could play somewhere, but I didn't have that opportunity until late in my high school career. So it was definitely slow and frustrating, but I mean, everything happens for a reason, and that's how it all worked out.
So you end up at St. Francis, obviously, and I'm guessing, man, was it a tough decision to leave there, knowing, you obviously had made a name for yourself there. Y'all were having big seasons there, and obviously the fact that seasons were getting canceled and you had no guarantee that you were going to get to play the next season as well played a big part in that. But what is the aspect of, I think people forget about this and just look at it from a sports standpoint, but the aspect of just leaving where you're at. There's a lot of people around you, I'm sure you'd become friends with, become tight with, and just saying, all right, guys, we're going off to, I'm guessing with COVID at the time, had you ever even stepped foot in Columbia when you arrived to actually like move in?
No, I had never even been here. Only thing that I saw was the videos that Coach Kimmery would send me. So, I mean, leaving St. Francis was hard just as I formed a bond with so many people there, especially just my teammates and Coach Pecora. I mean, Coach Pecora was my guy. That was my offensive coordinator. I mean, we talked about everything together, whether it was football or not. And just leaving them and knowing that it was out of our control just because of COVID. I mean, it was upsetting, but like I said before, I mean, everything works out for a reason, and yeah.
Jason, since you've been here, one thing that's always struck me, even before you got here, when fans knew you were going to transfer here, you kind of had a presence built up based on what you did at St. Francis. All the Gamecock fans were watching your film. You were pretty well known even before you got here. And so you've had a lot of media attention, right? Like even before you became the starter, had interviews. Obviously, you've got opportunities like this here on Garnet Trust. How much media did you have to do at St. Francis? Like, did you do a lot of press conferences?
Not really.
Not really. Did you do a did y'all have like a media room? Like, where you do press conferences? Did you just go on the field?
Yeah, it was mostly on the field. Like there's a couple videos that are out there that, I mean, me and EJ are just sitting in our bleachers talking.
with like one dude. Yeah. That's very. What have you thought of that? I mean, how much of an adjustment is that when you walk in like the media room in the ops building and there's, I don't know, 15, 20 people or whatever?
I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, I've come I mean, St. Francis, like I said, we were in the bleachers, and there was one or two guys there max to talk about, just asking us questions, and then you walk into the media room and there's a podium, and you look up, 25 people up in the seats, just ready to ask you a question. Like it's crazy just to think about where I come from and then like where I am now. It's just unbelievable experience, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
So let's go on to the field as far as the transition to SEC level, getting in the spring. And, I think from what I've heard at St. Francis, y'all are a little bit more of a true spread offense. This is a little bit more of a true pro style, whatever that means these days. I know, the definition of pro style is sort of ever changing. But from what we've been told, this is an offense that, like, can prepare you to be an NFL quarterback as far as, like, the checks and getting guys lined up. The under center, y'all are under center a pretty good bit. I think we just lost Jason. We will work to get him back. Let's see. There we are. No, we're good. We're good. We got him back. So Jason, I was saying, what has that process been like? Preparing in the spring and then going through all the summer. You've talked about it, like we said, in the big media room, just sort of having to hang in there, battle, wait for your chance. But how much have you learned just on like that side, the scheme side, the on-field side, since you arrived? Now here you are, November. All these 11 months, I guess.
I mean, I've learned a lot. I know a whole lot of fronts now compared to what I did. Coverages, different ways that people play it, disguise it. I mean, I've learned so much in these past however many months I've been here than I did my entire time I've played football from high school to when I was in St. Francis. So, I mean, it's crazy the amount of information that you can learn at this level. It's kind of overwhelming at times, but I mean that comes with it. If you want to be great, I mean, you got to learn those things, and I think I've done a good job of that recently. And I just hope I can continue to build my knowledge. That way, I can be the best quarterback that I can be.
Jason, physical tools question here for you before we get a little bit more into the mental side of the game. Favorite throw? What's your favorite throw or your best type of throw? Maybe that's the same thing. And then how far can you throw it? If I say line up on the goal line, chuck it, how far can you throw it?
I would say my favorite throw, easily. I love throwing a post, and I can throw the ball 75 yards.
75. Chris, how far can you throw the ball?
Not
a good bit less than 75.
Less, yeah.
So let's talk about the positive, man. Let's go back to that Florida game, your first start. So the ball you threw to Van, there were a couple of them, but I would say one of the signature plays of that game was the one where you sort of rolled out to your backside and threw it up. I counted it about 62 yards, I think, in the air, and Van goes up and gets it. What's going through your mind? Like, are you processing that, okay, there's a guy coming from my backside, I've got to spin off him, I've got to try to create some space, then I'm all right, where's my receivers at? Like, are you having to process all that information, or is like instinct taking over at that point? What is it like to literally like be in the helmet on the field when you have an SEC? He's at Florida. He's probably some big 4-star defensive lineman or something bearing down on you. What is that moment like? And then what is it like when you see Van go up, make the play, he pops up, he's all pumped up, crowd is going nuts?
I'd say it's more instincts. Just you got to be able to feel that coming from the backside. And yeah, I would say instincts definitely. And then just getting out of there and be able to make that throw and then seeing him go up and make that catch. I mean, I started celebrating and I got people on the sideline yelling at me to get the next play just because I was celebrating like crazy with the rest of the team going down the field. And that was a crazy feeling just because I had a play like that, literally just like that, to EJ at St. Francis. So it kind of brought back flashbacks for a quick second as well. And that moment right there was when I was like, all right, I think that I could really play at this level,
One of the things that Coach Beamer, really all the coaches and even teammates have said about you is you kind of hit on it too, like how much you've grown in terms of continuing to learn coverages, acclimating to a new style of offense. But when you look at your first couple starts, Florida and Missouri, without giving away like game plan stuff, obviously we don't want you to do that. But when you kind of look at some things that you say, okay, this was good, here's some stuff I need to improve on as an individual, what have you seen kind of in your film study from the past couple weeks that are going to be points of emphasis for you as a player?
I would say the biggest thing for me is not trying to spin out so much to my backside. I think I get the feeling that just a little bit too much, and I feel them crashing. And when I do, they kind of detach from the left tackle, and that allows him to get on me quicker. So I think I just have to. I mean, people are going to game plan for that now, and I know that. I mean, I'm in the SEC. We got the best D coordinators in the nation in this league, so I know they're going to plan for that now. So now I just really have to work on not relying on that move as much and working up in the pocket and escaping to my right or stepping up and escaping to the left underneath of that high rush just to give myself more time to make a throw,
Yeah, could you sense that looking back that Missouri had probably seen that play, and then they're starting to say, okay, that's one of his moves, that's one of his go-tos?
Yeah, and I think I did it a few too many times that game, which got us in trouble, which created some pressures, and that weren't the O-line's fault. That was my fault, just because I would escape. Like I said, he detached from the left tackle, and it would look like I was running for my life, but it was completely my fault for that. And like I said, I just got to do a better job at that because I know people are going to game plan. I know they adjusted for it because they started rushing high just on that side. So I just got to do a better job of that again and stepping up and making a play.
I think, Jason, I think it was on Saturday's broadcast, going back and watching that, they were talking about you adjusting to, from going from not huddling and things like that to huddling, calling plays out. What's kind of your style with your teammates when you're, when you're calling plays out in the huddle, and when you're, just your leadership style? Wes, did we lose Jason again? Thank you.
Yeah, he'll hop back on, I'm sure, in a second. I think Jason's friends have seen that he's live right now, and they're blowing up his phone is what it is.
I don't know what's wrong with my phone.
That must be it. But yeah, Jason, I don't know if you caught the entire question there, but basically just what's kind of your style of leadership kind of on the sideline with your teammates in the huddle? Are you more of a vocal guy, or are you just kind of calling the play and getting it done, or are you more of a vocal encouraging type guy, or what's that style like?
I'm more of a vocal and encouraging guy, definitely, especially when we're on the sideline. I mean, if you guys ever see me on the sideline, I mean, after every drive, I go down and dap up every single person on the sideline, whether it's offense or defense, just to tell them we're good, or if something bad's happening, just tell them we're good, next play, things like that. Just to encourage them so they stay in the game, locked in,
Yeah, Coach Beamer has mentioned several times this quarterback room that you guys have, and sort of how y'all have supported each other. Probably one of the few places in the country where three different guys have started this year. Three different guys have actually won football games as starters, which there can't be many teams that can say that right now. How has it been just being in that room with a bunch of guys who seem to, I don't know how to say it, man. They seem to pull the rope all in the same direction. Like y'all seem to support each other. Luke's a high energy guy. Colton, Zeb goes from being a coach to a player, and now he's almost kind of a coach on the sideline. It looks like he's got the headset on. What's the dynamic? Give us a little insight on the dynamic in the room during the week, on the sidelines, all that good stuff, man.
What I like is there's not any complaining that comes from that group, whether you're playing or not. Like you won't catch Zeb complaining that he's not starting anymore. Like you never caught me complaining. You won't catch Luke, Colton, any of those guys complaining because they just want to see the team win. So, and I think that's huge because I'm sure there's a lot of quarterback rooms that always hold that grudge because they're not playing. You know what I'm saying? So I think just seeing the love that they have, like that we have for one another, is huge, and I'm grateful for that because I got here and they took me in like I'd been here for 4 years, the 4 years that I've been in college. So just seeing them, those guys are very caring and they love what they do. Like we're all upstairs right now watching the film. So
to hit on Shane Beamer again, something that's discussed a lot is his positivity. So as a player, one thing to back up, one thing that we've all noticed about this team is win or lose, however it's going on the field, one thing that can't really be questioned, this team has continued playing hard. Even in the Tennessee and Texas A&M games. Jason's gone again. I guess we'll get him back here momentarily. Even even in Jason, even in the Tennessee and A&M games, the Missouri game, you're down 17. The comeback falls short, but the team's still playing hard in all phases of the game. And Shane Beamer, this has been talked about a lot, very positive guy, like publicly.
Yeah.
What do you think about that as a player? Like, does that make a difference to you that you have a coach in Shane Beamer that keeps things really positive? Like, does that make an impact on the team and maybe even how you guys play?
Yeah, absolutely. Just because, you don't feed well off negative energy. So I think the more positive that everybody can be, especially him being the head coach, I think that definitely helps us a lot just mentally, and preparing for a new opponent, or after a game if a game doesn't go so well for us. I mean, just knowing that he's positive and truly, like, we know that he truly wants to coach us, and there isn't a team that he'd rather coach in the nation. He tells us that every single day. And I think everybody on this team actually believes that. It's not like just one of those coaches going up and being like, yeah, I wouldn't rather coach another team in the nation, but really in the back of their mind, they're thinking they would want to. But I think everybody truly feels that with him, and we're grateful for that. And we just want to go out there and execute and play for him as hard as we can.
Jason, let's talk about these final two games. Do you guys let yourself think about bowl eligibility, the fact you need another dub? He's shaking his head no for those who aren't seeing. So what do you think? And you can answer this from like a team perspective or a personal, however you want to answer. What will be the key to these final two games? I know y'all are back at home, both night games, should be great atmospheres. With the Gamecock fan base. What do you see as the key to these final two games and finishing this season the way that all of you hope to?
We just got to come out and play with great intensity, and we have to execute. Like Saturday, Missouri, I mean, we didn't execute and we didn't play as well as we hoped to. So we just got to come out like we did Florida. Like Florida, we had our least amount of miss assignments that we've had all year, which was tremendous. And I think that's what really helped us win. And we were locked in and focused. We had great weeks of practice. I mean, we just have to continue that and really know what we're supposed to do, so we don't have many MAs, and we just go out there and play freely and play with confidence, and I think we'll be all right.
Jason, I got a couple more for you on my end, man, before we let you run. One of them is, wanted to ask you about one of your teammates who had a really strong performance against Missouri and just kind of get your take on him. What's it like playing with Zaquandre White? I mean, the guy has tons of energy, big play. Yeah, you said, oh my God. Yeah, tell us about his energy level, him as a player, what it's like to be teammates with them.
He doesn't just have energy off the field. Like, off the field, he has the same amount of energy. Like, you would think he's on so much caffeine, it's ridiculous. Like, he's one of those guys that just brings everything that he does. Like, we're in the meetings the other day talking about the game, and he's just over there just being him. I mean, it's great just seeing him get his opportunity now, and he's making the most of it. I mean, he's the first guy. I mean, he about makes miss every single time, and he makes plays when he has the ball in his hands, and we just got to continue to give him the ball and watch him work.
Do y'all feed off that a little bit, Jason?
Definitely.
It seemed to me like, man, y'all recaptured the momentum in that Missouri game. It kind of felt like if y'all could got maybe one more break and gotten the ball back, like for whatever reason, after the second to last touchdown, before the Brad Johnson interception, it felt like everything shifted. Did the momentum, could y'all feel that on the sideline Saturday?
I think everybody on that sideline, if we could have got one more stop and got the ball back, I think everybody on that sideline believed that we were going to win that game. And it didn't happen that way, but that's definitely how everybody was feeling, just with how the vibe changed on the sideline after that touchdown to Zaquandre. The vibe on the sideline just completely changed. Everybody was positive. Everybody was up cheering on the defense. Then we got the pick. Then we went down there and scored again. And if we could have got the ball back one more time, I think we definitely could have won that game.
I lied, Jason. I came up with one more based off that, and I have another one after that. despite losing that, and I know that was a tough one, despite losing the Missouri game, two big opportunities coming up at home. Do you feel like there's still like a lot of belief in the locker room right now, even coming off that tough loss and some other tough ones this season?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this team won 2 games last year. We've almost tripled that. So I think we're definitely going in the right direction, and everybody believes that. I mean, the only thing that we can't play for is the SEC championship. Everything we still want is still right in front of us, and we talk about that every day, like in our meetings. So everything that we still want is right in front of us. We just got to go capture it and play well, and everything will work out.
Chris, this is my final one, and then I'll let you hit one. We'll let Jason get out of here. So again, like I said earlier, this is presented by Garnet Trust. Garnet Trust is looking to be able to connect Gamecock student athletes with businesses, with fans. So I wanted to ask you, Jason, for one, how does that sound to have a new way to maybe connect players with business opportunities? And what has NIL meant for you as far as just having new opportunities as a person to maybe be able to capitalize on your name, image, likeness, which is kind of silly that wasn't the case before. But how has that been? What has that been like for you being, I mean, this is the first year it's ever happened. That's kind of groundbreaking for you to be able to be a part of that.
It's new, of course. I'm still trying to learn everything about it. But it's nice to be able to get your name out there and be able to make a little money off of that, instead of just having the NCAA make money off your name, So I'm nice, and it's about time. I mean, it's good that it finally happened, and you just try not to let it be a distraction during the season as much as you can, because you have so many other things to focus on, especially at this level. But it's definitely nice knowing that you can get your name out there for fans or businesses or companies and things like that, and you can make money off of that now.
Well said. I think particularly when you put it like that it's nice that the actual athlete that's producing the entertainment or whatever it may be, instead of just the NCAA. My last one, Wes, ending on a light note. Don't know if you have one. It's putting you on the spot. We've all seen the Water Boy, the Roberto impression. Any other impressions that you have? You can just tell us about them. You can even debut one for the people if you want, or you can tell us about them.
I don't think I have any more that I could do other than Coach Demo. That's about it. I have to that one for him all the time. He loves it.
But let's hear that one if we can. If it's not going to get you in too much trouble.
My favorite one is, y'all probably saw the video. He was at the Hall of Fame with Calvin Johnson, and he just go Gamecocks from that one. That's my favorite one right there.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Oh man, he nailed it, and then he dropped the mic and walked off, I think. But man, they, but hey, we thought you just dropped the mic on that one, man.
I thought Demo heard me and kicked me off my phone.
I might have been.
He might be outside the door right now, man. Man, good stuff. Do you work on, like, is that just something you like doing, working on impersonations and stuff, or it's just kind of a natural gift?
I just do them. I worked on my a little bit though. Here, man.
Okay, I got you, man. I got you. Jason, man, we've enjoyed it. We appreciate you taking the time. Hopefully we can do one of these again sometime, man. But obviously, we wish you all the success the rest of the way. Let us know if you need anything on GamecockCentral.com. Again, we appreciate the Garnet Trust, and we'll let you get back to it, man. But thanks again.
Yes, sir. Thank you. No problem.
All right. Yep. That's Jason Brown, quarterback. Appreciate him joining us. Check out all of our interviews on GamecockCentral.com. If you missed the beginning, you can actually go back, Chris. They can watch it on YouTube. They can watch it on Facebook. They can watch it on probably not Twitter anymore, but download any of our podcast stuff, subscribe on there. Just like GC Live, you can catch it pretty much everywhere. And Chris, JB just got out of here, but I wanted to ask you, man, Garnet Trust launches today.
Yeah.
Lots of people, there's actually a lot of people still on here watching. A lot of them are probably saying, what is Garnet Trust?
That's right.
So you can go to GarnetTrust.com. You can go to @TheGarnetTrust on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. But tell them what the Garnet Trust means, Chris.
Well, I'd sum it up this way, Wes. A lot of fans and a lot of business owners have been wondering how do you capitalize on name, image, likeness? If you're a business owner, hey, what is NIL? Like, what are the rules? What's legal to do? For fans, is there any way to connect with student athletes and be able to help them out in a legal, compliant fashion while getting access to content? The answer to all that is an organization like Garnet Trust can do it. It's compliant. It's been vetted by attorneys, all that good stuff. And so basically, if you're a Garnet Trust supporter, you can support at a variety of levels. Just go to GarnetTrust.com, click on the Contribute to Garnet Trust button. You can go there and support at any level. You're going to get access to you. First of all, you're going to help fund opportunities like the one we just did with Jason, which is cool content, helps out the student athletes. And also, you're going to get access to other exclusive Garnet Trust supporter things. We're going to do raffles, text messages from players, a lot of really cool stuff. If you're a business owner and you have questions about how to work with athletes, obviously we got a great platform at GamecockCentral.com to feature your business and leverage the power of South Carolina student athletes.
No doubt. Good stuff, Chris. Thank you to Jason Brown for joining us for our inaugural Garnet Trust sponsored interview. I'm Wes Mitchell. He's Chris Clark. Go to GamecockCentral.com. Go to GarnetTrust.com. And we'll see you all on GC Live. Appreciate the time. We'll see you soon.